Hold on, brother, I'm talking.
What is up, guys? Welcome to my channel, AJ's Corner with me, AJ. This is just a quick reaction to the comeback fight for Francis Ngannou. We weren't sure what he was going to be like, how he was going to look, how he was going to fare, if he was going to test our chin. The fight was over pretty quickly, which I thought it would be either way. It was a good fight while it lasted, had you on the edge of your seat. I think Francis' plan was to do his normal stand and knock him out, but if you see here, the right hand of Francis sort of lands, grazes there, and you will see his hands way up there in the air, and he's leaning back, which is obviously a big no-no in boxing. They teach you that on day one, but Francis gets away with things other people don't. But as you see this guy loading up, like he's literally going to throw a baseball. I wasn't going to show this, fair use, but screw it. If you watch this, yeah, Ferreira had reach like dials him off Street Fighter. It was at that moment where Francis knew, let's take this guy down. And he got the takedown so easily. He made him look like Dan Gable out there. That was the story of the fight. I mean, Francis came out with a good leg kick, took a couple of leg kicks, and I was thinking, oh, is this guy going to take Francis' base away? Because we've never seen anyone kick Francis' legs repeatedly in MMA or any sport, obviously. Francis got him down, seemed to have a little bit of trouble flattening him out, getting him in a good position where he felt he could, like, let go with some shots. They thought he was close to the triangle. I thought he was nowhere near, because I mean, he never put his shin under the back of the knee. Didn't even get close to that. He just had him up in the air, kept sticking his toe in the cage. I kept warning him. Francis just sort of kept him there, made sure. I thought he was going to make it to the end of the round, because he was just sort of making it awkward for Francis. But like Luke Thomas said, the guy's ground game is very, very poor. I know he's a big guy, it's probably hard to get at, but he didn't even have very much defensive jiu-jitsu. I mean, back in the day, there used to be some good ground guys in MMA, like Verdum, Nogueira. I'm not saying they were throwing it wrong. Verdum would throw up a triangle, but you know what I mean. They were decent on the ground. They could protect themselves, defend themselves. Francis was still messing around with him, landing some blows, landing some little shots here and there, and now this is where I think he starts to get him down properly. Ferreira starts thinking, as soon as he got hit with one or two clean shots, you saw it in his face. He'd clearly never been hit like that, not even close. He's been fighting sloppy, out of shape heavyweights and guys like Ryan Bader, blown up light heavyweights who are old and long in the tooth. No disrespect to those guys, they're fighters, and but it is what it is. He hasn't fought anyone even close to a top 10 heavyweight probably, and Francis is probably the best heavyweight in the world, to be fair. I mean, the only guy I think could challenge him are Aspinall and Jones, and he could beat both those guys. We don't know. I'm not saying he would, but I'm saying he could. It's possible. Between those three, you don't really know. I mean, he got him down. I mean, he hit him with some nice shots. I mean, those ones just there back. He was hitting him with shots here. He actually hit him under the armpit, just like Hendo did to Fedor. Hit him with a couple of those, which I think changed cleaned his clock a bit. And I thought he was just sort of giving up and putting his head, ducking his head, the way fighters do. They sort of curl up in a way to sort of, it's almost like tapping the strikes. They do it in a way they know the referee's going to be like, oh, he's clearly out of the fight. He's only looking at defending himself now. It's like calling for the fight to be stopped without calling for it to be stopped. I've noticed fighters do it for years. They'll sort of put themselves in a position and just go like that, and then the ref will break it up, and they're like, oh god, they're not actually unconscious. But I thought this guy went flat, and then he did go unconscious, and then he got another couple more landed on him. Some funny comments people were putting about the referee, but here he is. He's almost flattened out. Then he's flattened out. Francis did land a couple of blows to the back of the head, but yeah, as you see, he's out cold there. He had a big lump on his head. The only thing now is, where does Big Francis go from here? Do you know what I mean? He was very emotional after the fight. It was good to see him happy. There's the big lump on the guy's head. He still is like looking like, what's going on? Where am I? What were these guys in all white dresses? I mean, that guy's probably the best heavyweight in PFL. Well, he is, and by a long stretch. And Francis is better than him by a long stretch. So I don't know who they got coming on the pipeline. I don't watch a ton of PFL. I'm a hardcore MMA fan, but I have chilled out. I was watching literally every one, Glory, kickboxing, every WSOF back in the day, which is now PFL. I watched it all, but I haven't got the time anymore to watch all of them. You know what I mean? It's too time consuming for anyone to do, even if it's your job, But where does he go now? I wouldn't mind seeing him fight a guy like Wilder, because Wilder's shot to pieces. But realistically, I hope these Saudis can just force it. But I think any amount of money, the UFC are going to say no. Even if you offer him 500 million, they're going to say no, because that is what the UFC's built on, being that brand. And it'll prove it when the pay-per-view results come back for this fight, and they're shockingly bad, because I hate to say it because I love Francis, but there was big seconds of the arena, 1,000 seats just there, empty, and most of the people around the arena were the Saudi royal family and stuff like that, and Francis's family would obviously got tickets comped and things like that. I've seen a few people who look like they're fans, but not a lot of people want to fly to these countries because you can't really go on a bender. You might end up getting your hand chopped off or something. Do you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? These countries aren't like the Western world. You can't mess about there. You can't get drunk. You can't let loose. You've got to be on your best behaviour, and things can go south and no one can save you. So it is what it is. But I don't know where the guy's going to go from here. I don't know who he's going to fight. It's such a shame. Selfishly, I wish he just stayed in UFC and took the money, and we could have seen what he did. But I'm happy for him making his money. But man, just like the fight they got away with between Rumble Johnson and John Jones, and I know DC beat him twice, and Jones beat DC twice, but ABC, BBC, and CBT and MMA, it's rock paper scissors. We all know that. And I always felt like Anthony Rumble might clock John Jones and knock him out. I just always felt like John Jones never felt, they saw a clever power puncher, Vito, fast but a middleweight. He never fought a true power puncher, not a scary knockout artist like Rumble Johnson. God rest his soul, may he rest in peace. But I always wanted to see that fight so bad. John Jones got so lucky dodging that fight, and he's dodged that fight, and now he's dodged this one. The two biggest power punchers he would ever have faced, the biggest power puncher you would have ever faced at 205, dodged it without dodging it. The biggest power puncher you would have ever fought at heavyweight, dodged it without dodging it. And that always remained in my mind. I wanted to see him fight those fights, and if he'd have beat those guys, I would have thought, God damn, John Jones, you are literally unbelievably good, which he is, obviously. But I would have loved to have seen him fight Rumble and Francis, but it looks like we're never going to see that fight. So where does Francis go from here? I have no idea. I don't know who the earth he's going to fight, who the hell he's going to fight. It'll be interesting to see. I don't think they're going to do a rematch with this guy, because how are you going to sell that? Man, it's going to be interesting, man. I think I've forgotten his name now. The one FC heavyweight champ. That'll be an interesting. Let me see. I can't believe I've forgotten his name. Because he is a very interesting guy. Anatoly Malikin. So he's a middleweight, light heavyweight, and heavyweight. Yeah, Anatoly Malikin. He's small for a heavyweight, but look at that. Total wins, 14, no losses, 4 submissions, 10 knockouts. Soviet Union, master was 5'11". I thought he was at least 6 foot. He's shorter than me, god damn. But yeah, that guy, maybe they could make a fight with this guy. But outside of this guy and ONE FC getting involved, which I'm sure they would, they'd happily take some Saudi money. I just don't see where he goes. I genuinely don't see where he goes, you know what I mean? So that's just my video, my reaction to Francis. What do you guys think? Who do you think he can fight next other than Malikin? Anyone know? Any ideas? Let me know.